It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Good afternoon, 19th of March 2019, a few minutes past 2 CET time. Piotr here, and this is a New York Open market preview. Pretty busy morning, actually maybe not exactly morning, but last 2 hours, last 2.5. Dollar first, we've seen a little bit of sell-off, recovery into the New York Open, and yeah, especially dollar yen looks much better. So before we switch to the charts, risk warning as usual, guys. Please bear in mind trading effects on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all your initial investments, so please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. Okay. That's where we are. Just 1 second. Because there is a wrong information. The next meeting is tomorrow morning, as far as I remember, pre-London preview. So let's correct it. Now should be fine. All right. So what you can see here, based on what we discussed earlier today during the morning session, pre-London Open, failures. I've been fading the failures. I'm staying short euro dollar. I'm staying short tiny pound. Partial profit taking, reopening. Partial profit taking on euro dollar and Swissy. I do have very tiny exposure. There was no profit taking, nothing, still original stop, and we'll see what's going to happen here. Actually, I do believe there is a chance dollar will be at least stable, if not stronger, into the FOMC. Actually taking into the consideration what is going on on the yield front. The 10s are quite okay. We are gonna to switch within the second. So yes, I do expect at least stabilization, if not buying dollar into the FOMC. We do have excitement when we are talking about the indices, DAX, S&P, Nasdaq. We are going to stay with Nasdaq as we have 24 minutes to go. There is a little bit of, I think the market went a little bit of ahead in oil. So I'm looking to sell oil. We are going to discuss it. We do have private API later today and official EEA tomorrow. So let's have a look what we have. I have stops everywhere. So let's have a look what we have on dollar index and what we have on Yields side, just 1 second. All right, and that's the 10th, too early chart. What we're trying to do, we're trying to get back inside the range. There is some kind of the squeeze. So now we know why dollar was a little bit stronger second ago. So we, as you see, we have some squeeze into 264. That's the first target been hit based on this small consolidation over here. Okay, now the question is what next, right, after the squeeze. So what we are going to have, we are going to watch this stance. Euro dollar is going back to the high. Just the reminder on euro dollar, 1370 is the monthly open. So we may try to take out a few more stops, but I'm gonna watching very carefully if I'm gonna be stopped out. So that's how it looks from the yields perspective. I do expect this 264 is gonna to be taken out. So market will be ready to try to test this intraday supply around 266, 267. We'll see. Okay. I'm very interested what's going to happen on this pullback. So we do have some kind of the possible demand around 262, 261. I'm sorry, and 260. All in all, the important thing are the zone around 264 to 65. Okay, what we have on the dollar index? Let's start with daily. All right, so that's what we discussed a few times. The range from the 26th of February as a demand, there were last weakness seen here. We trying to take out yesterday low, last week low, right? Bulls need right now to take over and start to trying to get back above yesterday low, and then the best thing for dollar bulls is gonna to be move above weekly open. All right, let's have a look what we have from the intraday perspective. So we took out the stops, intraday stops, all right, based on this intraday possible demand. Stops were taken out. 96.30, 96.20 as possible demand based on what we've seen to the left side. All right, so we're testing these levels right now. I'm talking about the low over here, I'm talking about the low over here, and I'm talking about the high over here, and exactly we are at these levels right now. Okay, so what's my plan? Let's get back into the platform. Okay, so what we have here, we are retesting this 60-65 level. I've got tight stop right above. I didn't move after the partial profit taking. I didn't move. I took the partial profit taking based on this distance. So it's okay. If I'm gonna be stopped out, I'm gonna be net around 0. Then this red dotted line over here, 1370, as I mentioned, that's the monthly open, and eventually I would like to see some kind of the failure over here, right? So in between now and 70, I'm looking either to reopen the new shorts if I'm gonna to be stopped out here, or I'm looking around current levels if we are gonna to see a rejection over here. Maybe I'm going to try to add into the short, right? We'll see. What I would in case of adding into the existing position, I would like to see the move below this this candle over here. So in that case, the low was 55. So I would like to see the move below this level. All right, maybe some kind of the retest, and I would like to reopen 55, 58, same stop on euro dollar. I've been trapped a little bit here on the pound when I was trying to resell on a break to the downside. I've been looking for these stops towards daily open and towards 32.25. If I'm gonna be stopped out here on the pound, even I took the partial profit before, even for the original I have a little bit lower, I might be net negative here if I'm gonna to be forced to move out of the market. Dollar yen, we hold this intraday demand, trying to move above daily open, trying to get back and retest weekly open blue dotted line. All right. So what I'm looking for eventually is some kind of the pullback. All right, on the dollar yen towards 35, towards 30, and I'm going to monitor the price action around these levels, looking for eventually for longs. As I mentioned, on the crude side, I'm looking to sell Rileys towards 59, 56, maybe 60 psychological level. All right, so what I would like to see, this kind of the consolidation attempt to move higher, as I mentioned, maybe towards 60. There is a possible supply based on the daily. I would like to see Riley eventually over there, and some kind of the rejection. Either I'm gonna to join immediately on the smaller time frame, or I'm going to wait here on this 15-minute chart to some kind of the head and shoulder formation going to be created, right? And in that case, this type of the move, and I will try to join it. In that case, if I'm correct here on the crude, it might be the case for the Canadian dollar to weaken again, but for now, because of this hurrah optimism, yeah, Canadian dollar gaining. I would say that's the possible intraday demand is over here, and I'm gonna to watch these levels very, very carefully around 32.10. And that would make sense, taking into the consideration the latest consolidation, this one. So if we are gonna to trying to double, 1 second. If we are gonna trying to double this one, that's perfect. That makes perfect sense over here. breakdown here. It might be also, let's have a look what we have. If we are gonna to try to do that way, yeah, similar story, 1-to-1, so it doesn't matter what we are going to choose. Looks like 32.10, 32 psychological figure might be tested. I'm quiet. How to call it? I like the action on the yields. I like the action on the dollar, and not necessarily I do understand this sky is the limit on indices. It might be that that's the case because of the end of the quarter. That might be the case. Some window dressing. But the move is so strong. So either they are not afraid about the Fed, but if they not afraid about the Fed, if the bulls are on the indices are not afraid about the Fed expecting dovish Powell, dovish Fed, so why dollar is gaining and why yields are rising, right? Well, we are going to get the answer tomorrow. Just a reminder, in relation to the British pound, there is no voting in the British Parliament today. Yeah, huge mess over there in UK in relation to the Brexit. The UK jobs data, especially earnings, a little bit better than expectations. We do have CPI tomorrow. Thursday retail sales and Bank of England, but I'm worried about the Bank of England because Carney may not have a possibility to clarify the longer term path for Bank of England. So I'm not so sure if the pound want to catch up and try to trade for rate hike expectations. I'm not that sure about that. Of course, sitting right now short, or to be honest with you, being even long is a risk from the intraday perspective. We do know that one news may push and create the spike either to the upside or to the downside on the British pound. Also, I'm going to watch gold tomorrow because of the 13.25. So, crude approaching possible supply, gold is retesting possible supply, and from the daily, that's what we discussed, 13.15, 13.25 as the first possible supply, or if we are gonna to get back above, we may look to hunt for stops above most recent high, and in this case we are talking about, where is it? $13.46.47, and so it might be the case to retest the higher, but first we have to take out 13.15, 13.25 on gold. Looks like dollar is bid again across the board. So let's have a look what we have on the yield side. Oh. Let's switch to the smaller time frame. Looks like after this first initial squeeze, trying to consolidate before moving higher. That's the latest supply based on the 10 minutes. So we hit that supply, right? But there is no strong rejection, come on. We may see continuation, so we might see the bond sell-off, rising yields, and that should help dollar. So let's get back to the platform because I can see that the pound is weakening. So maybe I will try to exit the one short from the lower level. We'll see. Yeah, we broke through. I may look for the possibility to add into this short euro dollar. That looks good. That looks good for me with tight stop. So we were not able to hold above this supply. We get back below, right? So yeah, as I mentioned, 15.7, 58. I may try to think to add. So now I can move my stop a little bit lower. So if I'm gonna to add fairly, I'm going to narrow the risk as well because of the tightest stop. 61, okay. So I have like 3 pips right now. I took 14. Oh, sorry, 9. Partial profit, so it's okay, not bad. Okay, we are approaching the US cash market open. So again, as usual, that's still fairly early, but as usual, okay, we are gonna to monitor Nasdaq first 5 minutes range. Okay, where we are comparing to yesterday 5-minute range. So that was yesterday, very strong cash open and first 5 minutes. So that's the yesterday first 5 minutes. I would say that the open is gonna be just this double bottom, some stops, 7,300. That's what is important for us for now. So we do have nice possible over under here as well. So that's where the bulls may try to counter. We do have some demand over here as well. Bulls are dominating here, there is no doubt about it. Okay. What I would like to see on the pound is to take out these stops. And the action around here is gonna be important. If they're gonna try to reject, I'm going to try to cut some exposure. We'll see. So we have three parts today during this afternoon meeting. So after the cash open around 2:40 CT time, we are going to have first break. Then around the top of the hour, we are going to start the second part. So we will monitor what is going on after the cash open in US. And the third one, we can go through few crypto crosses, cryptocurrency. If you wish, just let me know. That depends how busy FX is going to be. Actually, I do have Swissy, so not necessarily I'm going to add into euro dollar. So maybe in that case I should move the stop below the entry. Yeah, I'm staying with the original stop on the dollar Swiss. Yeah, I would like to avoid to have too big exposure on the dollar, single dollar, right? So we'll see. Maybe if I'm somehow going to manage to do something with this lower short from on the pound side, in that case I'm going to look to reopen a little bit higher. We'll see. Okay, so US is officially open today, 19th of March. So let's have a look what we have here. So that's the first 5 minutes. We are looking for first 5 minute trading range. That's the cash open. All right. Okay, we have higher levels. Ooh. And yeah, I'm watching the pound price action right now. Around current level as we discuss these stops here. Okay, let me move the stop. So whoa, sky is the limit here. So what happened? We took out intraday stops, pre-market stops, that's for sure. That's for sure. So these guys will try to cover somewhere here if they were not stopped out yet. They may try to cover somewhere here on the pullback retest. That might be the case. We'll see where we are going to end up this first 5 minutes. Just a reminder from our morning meeting, euro dollar possible supply around 1355, 1375, possible demand. First the psychological, the figure 113, and then we have the zone we were discussing even less last week, 75.45, pound 33, that's what I faded, then again above 33.50, 33.80. Possible demand down toward 32, 31.70. If we are gonna to break and close below, then the psychological 130 might be on the card. I'm not that happy with this stop, but anyway, I still have this from the higher level, and that's the possible, this broken demand right now, that's possible supply. So I'm lowering my stop for the original one, so I'm gonna to ensure 25 pips already. That's cool. And here we are quite safe. Maybe it's, if we are, yeah, maybe we will see 47 before Riley. Okay, looks like there is some kind of the demand I've mentioned within this zone, so the guys were short if they were not lucky enough to take profit. Now after the move higher, they're trying to cover this one. We'll see. So that's the first 5-minute range. We went higher. We took out the stops, pre-market stops. I do expect that we even the bulls controlling the market, right? But we may see some kind of the pullback. All right. So what I think, because of this first 5 minutes, first five minutes, and the upper shadow on this 5-minute candle, I do expect that at least we will try to take out this high after the cash open, and it's gonna be all about price action above this level. Either we are gonna to see strong continuation, or just stop counting some double top where the second top is a little bit higher than the previous one, and sell off. And so once the stops to the upside are taken out, we may look for some stops to the downside. That's how I see these things on the Nasdaq. All right. So now on euro dollar, on the smallest time frame, as looks there is a failure around current level, so that's the possible supply right now, so I can lower my stop a bit here as well. Let me have a look what we have on the 10s, right below this supply. So there is no strong rejection. There is a chance for continuation. Let me show you what I'm talking about. The 10s, So there is no huge rejection, right? We reacted within this supply. There is no rejection, right? There is a consolidation right under, so at least attempt to move higher. We should see. We should be able to see, yeah. What's my target for the pound from the higher level? Around 32.15, 31.90. We just need to make breakdown. We may see some kind of the consolidation around 45 around the daily open, and we should see continuation towards 32.30, and I do expect the green zone is going to be tested. We are going to see the test of this green zone, so it's a possible demand based on the daily. All right, it's time for a first break today. So charts are going to be visible and my voice is going to be back around top of the hour. So enjoy your break, coffee, tea, water, all right? And see you again around top of the hour.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
All right, that's the second part of our today's afternoon meeting covering the New York session. The last hour, yeah, we may say it was positive for dollar, but the end of the hour, there's some weakness, I would say. Anyway, what we have, because my exposure it's not that big, but anyway, I'm gonna to close with 1 or 2 pips profit this Swiss franc long, so I'm clean here. So I've got the possibility to react. There is a stop at +7 for euro dollar. There is a stop at +25 for remaining short cable. And actually here we broke through this European lows. So stops were taken out. We were discussing during the first part that this particular zone corresponds with the daily open and looks like we hit the zone and we're trying to rally out of that zone, so some small profit taking. So now I may try to reopen pound again. Let's have a look what we are gonna to get once we are here around this zone. I like pound to the downside, especially with the whole mess Brexit related, even with a little bit better earnings. I'm talking about the UK jobs data. Yeah, with this mess, the Thursday Bank of England, I would say Carney may have some problems to define longer term path yet. That's what he said last time, right? Without the clear details, Brexit related, Bank of England may not be able to define the longer term path in relation to the monetary policy. So that's what I've said on the very beginning of today's meeting, that that might be the challenge, and yeah, we may have a problem. I mean, the bulls on the pound may have a problem to try to catch up and try to trade upside based on the high expectations. That might be the challenge. We'll see. So yeah, staying long dollar, that's actually what I've mentioned already yesterday. That there was some, over the weekend, there was some articles, rumors that yeah, Fed probably is gonna be dovish. So yeah, last hurrah on this on the indices, but that's what I've shown you during the first part. The yields rising, so yields are supporting dollar. That's the good sign. And if we want to see, or maybe different way, I would say the breakdown on dollar it's going to happen because of the debt, not because of the Fed. So once we are going to see the dollar breakdown, strong sell-off, most probably from the medium or long-term perspective, is going to be based on the debt, not on the Fed. That's how I see the things. I'm not a super macro guy. But yeah, that's how I see the thing with dollar, and I might be totally wrong, but yeah, we saw this preparation for dollar sell-off, and yeah, plenty of these bigger institutions were trying to talk dollar down. Maybe they've been paid by White House because Trump doesn't like strong dollar, but no way, dollar is not giving up right now. Okay, so that's how it looks on the majors side. Let's have a look what we have on Nasdaq. To be honest with you, I'm quite surprised that we didn't hit a beat even by quarter point. So we have like double top, and I've been talking about a little bit higher high and a sell-off. So we saw the sell-off without the higher high. So this pre-market high, which been taken out on the first pullback, these guys were covering the shorts, then the sell-off, retest, and we trying to hold below. So we took out the stops below the cash entry, and where we stopped the sell-off right around the yesterday cash open. That's why we placed this zone over here. So for now we are trapped in between this pre-cash open high and around this yesterday cash open. So that's how the things for now on the Nasdaq side. Gold here 13.15, 13.25. Actually, I'm gonna to watch very carefully tomorrow during the FOMC. Probably we are gonna to see attempt to go higher, maybe towards 25, top of that range. And as of now, I don't know. I would say that the bulls need to close above 13.25, right? As long as we are not gonna to close above, we may see another sell-off lower towards 12.60 and 12.40. Crude, I'm looking to sell, but as we discussed it during the first part of today's meeting, I would like to see another attempt to move higher, closer to 60. All right, so the current price action of today's price action is gonna be treated as the left shoulder, and I would like to see some kind of the head and shoulders creation around with the head around 60 or right above 60. We do have private API today, and we do have official EA tomorrow. And in that case, I do expect weaker oil in coming days. So it's going to be smart to watch Canadian dollar from that perspective. We'll see. Okay, options expired. There was nothing extraordinary if we are talking about the amounts. There was 1.2 billion on euro dollar at 113, so it was quite a long distance. Nothing extraordinary besides that. So we have to wait and watch before the next move. So there is a possibility of another upper shadow, but you know, as long, that's what we discussed earlier today during the morning session. There are some positives from the bulls perspective as we take out and close above this pre-ECB high and open Thursday 10 days ago or almost 2 weeks ago, right? So yeah, it's getting slowly, but it might work like Riley based and continuation. But we do have on the bears side, from the bears perspective, we do have this red dotted line, that's the monthly open, and 1st of March low, close, that's everything here, that's possible supply, right? Confirmation of possible continuation to the downside is gonna be with daily close below 13, below 1275. I'm talking about the medium term right now. From the intraday perspective, yeah, I took the shorts based on what we discussed during the morning meeting. Yeah, those three upper shadows looks amazing for the rest of the day, at least for now from the bears perspective. But again, it's based on the intraday chart, so I'm not gonna to try to target, I don't know, parity, right? I'm trying to target the stops below Tokyo low towards weekly open, okay? So something towards 1320, 13 level. I do expect some small bounce, at least bounce from below weekly open. I would say that for the rest of the day we are gonna to see a little bit of the move to the upside, a little bit move to the downside, few stops here, few stops there. It might be some kind of the market may try to position ahead of the FOMC. I would say that the second part of the US session might be pretty interesting once we are done with London fix, and once the Europe is gonna go home. So when the US guys are going to stay alone, lower liquidity, and if we are going to try to positions ahead of the FOMC during that time, that things might get interesting. So let's have a look what we have on the news front. Just new sanctions, US sanctions on Venezuela's state-run mining company. Just a moment ago. As I mentioned, during the third part of our today's meeting, we can try to go through a few cryptos. We went through Bitcoin during the morning session. Not moving a lot today, that's true. Looks like the morning plan is still valid. There is a New Zealand GDT price index plus 1.9 day reaction. So let's have a look here on, let's switch to Kiwi based on this Swiss franc here. Where is Kiwi dollar? Jeez, yeah. Okay, trying to go higher within the monster monthly supply. I have to clean this Kiwi chart. One day I'll do that. So we are trying to make higher high right now. Better late than never. Or triple top. No, at least we will take out some stops. So they're trying to slow a bit. There's the factory orders at the top of the hours. No, not the driver, I would say. Okay, there is some move, finally, sudden move in the pound side. Oh, what happened? For sure, it's not because of the resignation, Theresa May resignation. That would... Okay, we took out daily open, and that's where the things are going interesting. So I'm moving my stop lower again. So I'm securing 40 pips right now. And let's switch to the lower time frame. Yeah. I think it might be a little bit higher, but yeah, I'm fine with 40 pips secured already. And just a reminder, I'm targeting something around 32.20 ish, 32. All right, so let's have a look what we are gonna to get here. These pound levels we were discussing even yesterday, weekly open, monthly 33, so that's shouldn't be surprised here. So what we have on the smallest time frame, looks like we may see, yeah, the stops were taken out for sure, so looks like we may try to take this channel into the consideration. So stops are done, so some move higher possible. All right. All right. Okay, USA. So, geez, that's strange thing, to be honest with you. Triple top, exact triple top, at least on the chart I'm using here. It might look slightly different on the future side, the important chart, but here triple top. Okay. And that's how the 10-minute chart on DXY dollar index looks like. So we are back above this broken double bottom, back above. That's positive sign for sure for dollar. So let's have a look where we are on tens. Retest and rejection. All right, all right. It's gonna take some more time. It's not huge rejection, right? Still, the supply zone over here looks like a strong one, right? So still there are some bond buyers or yield sellers around this zone. Okay, let's see where we are at the bottom of the hour. Oh, so nice. Now, taking into consideration late New York and Tokyo, so we are testing possible demand. There are some stops pre-Tokyo close, retest. So I can't lower my stop, it's already lowered. Yeah, the range, I would say we are going to see some lower levels towards, yeah, there are plenty of stops. So I think even if there is a plan to go higher, we are not gonna go there without some stops. Might be the case. Let's see what's going to happen at the bottom of the hour. So watch out the bottom of this lower demand zone. That's where the exact cash entry from yesterday is, somewhere here. So if that's gonna define the range, so look for double it after the break. Couldn't find anything about this pound in regards to this pound move to the downside. Ooh, that could be the, but it's no, it's not corresponding with the time, but looks like. Not sure if it's I couldn't find the confirmation yet. Okay, so what I don't want to see here, because it's a 45, 65, so 20 pips is a distance, and something around 20 pips, I have to lower this stop, and I don't want to see, I don't want to give up another 20 pips, so I'm lowering these stops, I'm securing 46 pips. Might be more aggressive if they will start to try to get back above 50. We are fighting right now. We are fighting right now within this daily open zone. All right. I would like to see lower low here immediately right now. I may even try to, yeah, I may try to narrow it even more. I'm securing 52 pips right now. So a little bit of the space above this candle open. Once we are gonna to take out the low, I'm gonna to move the stop even lower. Come on, guys. So I'm very aggressive on this stop move on the pound. Tomorrow we do have just morning meeting pre-London Open, and Thursday we do have morning meeting as well. The next New York session coverage is gonna take place, as far as I remember, Tuesday 26th. Yes, Tuesday 26th. So I'm gonna to remind you. And we are approaching slowly. We are approaching April. where the new meetings, I mean the webinars, are gonna take place. We're gonna to try to explain a few of my strategies I'm used for my day trading, my risk approach, so that should be easier for some of you. Yeah, stops are done. Stops related to the end of the Tokyo session are done here on euro dollar. Good, good, good. I'm lowering even more, securing 54. Yeah, I would expect that was the biggest pullback within this move higher. So yeah, that's my expectation. That's what I've mentioned before. What I'm gonna to target on euro dollar. Here on the pound, they may try to squeeze a bit. So we have strong stop counting, bounce, slow retest, right? So we do have this trend line over here. So either we are gonna to fall under own, so we may see a little bit higher prices and continuation to the downside, or we may see bigger squeeze and retest the high. So I may reopen eventually, right? So that's the reason I'm getting so aggressive on the moving the stop lower. Or we are going to see another strong move to the downside like the previous one. All right, it's time for a second break. So charts are gonna be visible. I may move the stops to the downside in a aggressive fashion. So we are going to be back after the break around the top of the hour.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
All right, so top of the hour, and that's the third and the last part of today's New York session coverage. Piotr here, and that's the Global Light Forex YouTube channel. All right, so what happened? I closed immediately when I saw this candle. I moved the stop even lower, so at the very next tick of the next candle, I took 50 plus pips on this pound short trade. Market on euro dollar is approaching. I also got stop profit already here. I mean, I moved the stop below the entry, so whatever happened, it's gonna be stop profit, not stop out, not stop loss. So that's quite positive. So yeah, I've been positive about the dollar. I saw the failure at the low. I'm talking about dollar basket. I saw the failure at the high on euro dollar. I saw the failure at the high on pound dollar. I took the advantage of it, and yeah, it doesn't look bad. So looks like before the end of European session, actually I'm done with the day. There's nothing to chase. We are retesting possible supply on the pound on a lower time frame, but looks like the latest move to the downside, it was nothing else than stop hunting. So what we may see eventually, the whole drop we've seen after the stops were taken out, we may move to the upside. So additional stops, and this failure within this candle so the bottom of this candle may be tested. So again, the levels around the weekly open, the levels related to the monthly chart, we may see retest of these levels. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna be more than happy to watch. And if I'm gonna to see again failures around these levels, I may try to reopen. I'm not in the position that I have to rush, that I have to force something. I'm quite okay. There is a little bit more than 24 hours into the FOMC. No rush. So that's how it looks from my perspective. So pound move back towards these levels. I may try to reopen. Euro dollar, we may see even higher high again. So where we found the support, where demand activated again, within the late New York and early Tokyo price action box, right? We took out the stops of the late Tokyo session. That's what we discussed before the break, and we may see run higher. So the monthly open, red dotted line, it's gonna be the key. So again, in between 65, 75, that's where I'm gonna to look for maybe another failure and stronger dollar, right? The thing is that the later we are gonna to try to move higher, the better from the bulls perspective, because we may see higher close into the end of the day. I'm closely monitoring this price action on the crude. Looks like we are trying to create outside day. But yeah, we need to see where we are going to close the day. Might be that the idea of the bigger head and shoulders may not be in play here, but I'm gonna be much more clever closer to the end of the day. So that's something we may discuss tomorrow morning during the pre-London Open meeting at 8 a.m. CET. Dollar yen, problems around the weekly open, blue dotted line. We took out daily open, so some stops were taken out. Now I'm very curious what's going to happen around 11:30. That's what we discussed, where the demand may be activated again. We'll see. Nasdaq still within the range, but the first low during the cash session been taken out. We retest almost to the point cash open from yesterday, and another bounce is seen. So right now we are within the range. That's what we discussed before the break, okay? But I would make the measure of that range, and in case we are going to see the break, we may simply double that range. In that case, we are talking about the possible demand based on what we seen yesterday, and to the upside we may see 7,400 based on the chart I'm using here, right? But for now we are within the range here on Nasdaq. Okay, so euro dollar stop profit has been hit. Yeah, so I'm monitoring, and that's the special hour. Maybe not that one because of the time shift in the US, right? Because when we are gonna to switch here in Europe as well, so then we are going to have at 4 p.m. CT option expiration, means 10 a.m. New York time, and 1 hour later London fix, and that's the special 1 hour. This time the option expiration was 1 hour before, 1 hour ago. So yeah, there might be a little bit higher volatility into the London fixing. Maybe some kind of no, we have the London fix tomorrow ahead of the FOMC, so that's where they may try to position themselves into that FOMC. As I mentioned before, the second part of the US session might be interesting when the only US guys stay on the market. A little bit higher volatility, I would say, is possible. Nothing special in the calendar today. Next Tokyo session, we do have BOJ meeting minutes. And that's the most important during the next Tokyo session. Then tomorrow, London session, UK inflation data, CPI. Then nothing special at the beginning of the US session. Crude oil inventories, private API later today. And then 7 p.m. CET, FOMC economic projections, FOMC statement, federal funds rate, and 30 minutes later we do have FOMC press conference. And tomorrow 10:45 p.m. CET, GDP out of the New Zealand. Okay, so let's have a look what we have on the yield side and how dollar index looks like right now. 1 second. Yeah, now looks like finally bond buyers trying to take over. So let's have a look what we have here. Yeah, and that's this strong supply zone. There was no strong rejection. Another attempt, no strong rejection finally. Buyers are trying to take over. That's why the dollar is weakening a bit. Now, 260, that's where possible support for yields, right? So something around these levels, right? So because of this squeeze we were discussing, all right, we may see retest of the broken trend line and we may see another attempt to try to go higher. So that's another reason why the second part of the US session might be interesting. On the dollar side, let's switch to 1 hour chart. Yeah, we are trying to get back above this double bottom breakdown, and we are able to get back, but last hour we get back below again. So there is a fight around this 96.40. Yeah, bulls have to take out 96.45, to be honest with you, this mid of that zone, like this, and maybe we'll see price action to the upside. Some stops above 96.60, 96.65. Okay. Just a reminder, we have 2 more meetings this week. Tomorrow pre-London Open at 8 a.m. CET, and Thursday the same pre-London Open 8 a.m. CET. You are more than welcome to join. That's what I don't need anymore. This one I don't need anymore. As I've mentioned before, because we have some time, so we can go through few crypto charts. Let's start with what we discussed during our morning meeting. We discussed Bitcoin. and that's how the things looks like. No change. Another attempt, another consolidation, right? And maybe we are going to see attempt to move a little bit lower and then rally towards 4,200 to try to take out some stops above these levels, right? So the scenario with the Bitcoin versus dollar, no change in view compared to what we've seen during the morning preview. Ethereum, what we have from the daily perspective. That's possible supply based on the daily chart. At least looks like. All right, so that's the possible supply based on the daily chart. Looks like we missed twice, so I would say from the bulls perspective, these stops above this high from 24th of February, that's juicy, right? And if we are gonna to add some trading line, yeah, it could make sense here to hit these stops and try to attack 175, 180 on Ethereum side. So we may see action like this. Rejection because of the possible supply, first test. Looking for some stops below 135 like this, and then huge bull run. All right, maybe not try to go that far. Next few days, I think we might see attempt to go higher to look for some stops to the upside, and then eventually reaction around 75, 80, 175, 180 could give us the answer what next. If the first move is gonna be to the downside, then watch 125 here based on the chart I'm using. So in that case, a little bit of the stop count to the downside, support on this rising trend line, and eventually rally back towards this supply. I would prefer to buy after the failure to the downside. That's what I prefer to do usually. So that's how I see the things on Ethereum. Litecoin versus Bitcoin. So this time not versus dollar. Litecoin versus Bitcoin. What we have here. All right. Looks like we are approaching some possible supply. Looks like we already hit that supply. There is a little bit of sellers activity, but I like this round bottom. I'm not a huge fan of the Litecoin, but I like this round bottom, and for the healthy of the whole crypto space, yeah, it would be good to see the whole sector moving higher. But because of this possible supply over here, I would expect we may see some kind of the pullback. There is a possible stops below 0.013, and the possible demand is within this base, right? So what we've seen here was the Riley, huge base and breakout to the upside. I like it. What I'm afraid and why I do expect a little bit deeper pullback is because of this double top stop count hit the larger supply. So if we hit some stops to the upside, now it's time to hit some stops to the downside, right? And in that case, that will open the way towards 0012, 5012 within this Litecoin versus Bitcoin. And let's have a look what we have on the Ripple daily chart. I'm so sorry. Looks like some kind of the consolidation between 34-35 cents to the upside and 30-29 cents to the downside, and probably that's the name of the game for now on the Ripple. Nothing extraordinary here, and move and close above will expose this supply around 40, and most probably we don't want to hear about the downside, right? Towards 25-24 cents, but it might happen. It might happen here on Ripple as well. Let's get back to Bitcoin for a second. That's what we discussed from the higher time frame retest of this 5,800, 6,000. Yeah, it might be the case, but first we have to take out 4,200, what we discussed earlier today. And it's not that active today. Okay, so let's get back to FX. Euro dollar is back to the high. It might be over under taking place, so we are retesting yesterday high. I do expect some supply here, if not here. If we are going to take out, then another supply around the 65-70 monthly open. Pound is a little bit weaker, but I would like to see Riley back towards the weekly open, towards the levels related to the monthly chart, red color. Dollar yen, let's see what's going to happen if we are going to retest 25.20. So basically that's the majors. oil under the radar, and range trading for now on the Nasdaq side. I still believe that it's better to try to fade the failure instead of trying to trade equal highs. So pretty much that's it from me today. Yeah, we are trying to react on euro dollar. Ooh, nice. But I'm not gonna do anything ahead of the London fixing. I may try to look at the charts during the second part of the New York session. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. Don't be trapped. Just a reminder, tomorrow 8 a.m. CET, London pre-open. So let's meet tomorrow again. Have a great evening. Take care and see you tomorrow.